Okay, so I wanted to go through and show you some of the parts of a picture book um, by using this PowerPoint and then recording some audio over it. A lot of people don't realize that picture books are sort of like works of art. They're put together deliberately. Um, the choices that are made in terms of the colors, the medium, the format, all work together so that the book conveys an idea or a story to you. So let's take a look at all these different parts. And we're going to be using Brendan Wenzel's They All Saw a Cat picture book for this. Okay, so this is the front cover of They All Saw a Cat. It's the front of the dust jacket. The dust jacket is a paper jacket. Essentially, it wraps around the book, protects the hardcover, and it's the first thing you see when you turn the book and look at it face out. And here, so you see They All Saw a Cat and the author's name, and a picture of a cat, and then the silver sticker tells you it's a Caldecott honor book. So looking at the book, your reader expectation is, okay, this is a book that's going to be about a cat in some form or another. And that's what covers do. They help build that expectation of what the book's going to be about. So this is the back of the dust jacket, the back cover. Back covers have a variety of things on them. Sometimes a few words from the story or a brief summary, sometimes another image or the image wraps all the way around. This one has what are called blurbs. And what those are essentially is just real short 1 or 2 sentence reviews, usually from authors or journals or newspapers. These are all from major newspapers like the New York Times, and also children's journals like School Library Journal. And this is a selling tool, right? Look how good this book is. You should buy it. Okay, so this is the dust jacket laid flat. And again, like I said, the dust jacket is paper that wraps around the cover. And its goal is to protect the cover from dust. So it's got the front cover, the back, and then the spine that has the author and the title on it. Inside the dust jacket, you have flaps that hold it onto the book. So this is the front inside flap. And usually that page, that flap, has a summary of the book in some form. That's where people go to find out, what's this book about? Because this is not actually a story, it's more of a concept book. It's very short. So what it says there basically, and I apologize for the text getting cut a little bit, it says, when you see a cat, what do you see? In this glorious celebration of observation, curiosity, and imagination, Brendan Wenzel shows us the many lives of one cat and how perspective shapes what we see. So it gives you a sense of what the book's about. There's also a picture of a fish, which might make you wonder, why is there a fish when it's a book about a cat? The back flap of the dust jacket is always where the author and illustrator bios are. Now, Brendan Wenzel is the illustrator, also the author, so there's only one bio. It tells you a little bit about him, things that he's published, gives his website. It tells you that he collaborates with organizations to save wild animals and threatened species. And it's got a picture of a cat and also a picture of a bird. So again, you might wonder, what are these animals that are not cats doing on here? What's it got to do with anything? Under the dust jacket, this is the front of the book, the hardcover. And you notice it's different from the actual image on the dust jacket. Sometimes that's true, sometimes it's exactly the same. But it's always interesting to me to take the dust jacket off and look underneath and see what's there. Again, this is a conscious choice by the designers. What do we want to do under the dust jacket? We're going to do something a little different. So here you see it's a blue background with a cream colored cat. And you might ask yourself, why are they doing this? What are they trying to do? So if you have a book and you can take the dust jacket off, it's always good to look underneath. Sometimes with library books, you can't remove the dust jacket. Please don't rip it or anything if you can't take it off. Okay, these are the end papers. That's the heavy stock that connects the book to the dust jacket. So when you open the front of the book, there's end paper here, end paper on the right, and then in the back of the book, there'll be end papers as well. Sometimes they're just a plain color. Sometimes they have images from the book or words sometimes. This one has what looks like fur all over it, which maybe suggests something about what the book's going to be about. In Peggy Rathman's Officer Buckle and Gloria. The inside end papers have multiple images of these paper stars that the children send to Officer Buckle, and they have little drawings on them. So sometimes the end papers are used as part of the book's design. Sometimes they're just a plain color. This is the title page. It's usually on the right inside, like if you open the cover and turn the end paper, it's there. It's very rarely on the left. It's almost always on the right, so it's facing you. It usually is very similar to the cover, but in this case you'll notice the cat's not there. There's just, they all saw a cat, and then the collar and the bell, and Brendan Wenzel's name and the publisher. Either on the back of the title page or on the left, depending, is the publication information, which includes things like copyright, the Library of Congress information. There's a dedication here, which again is a little cut off. It says to Magdalena, BW, that's Brendan Wenzel. And then in the right-hand column, you see some information about the actual design of the book. The illustrations, it tells you what they were used. Excuse me, it tells you the typeface, which is Baskerville 120 Pro. And then it says the illustrations in this book were rendered in almost everything imaginable, including colored pencil, oil pastels, acrylic paint, watercolor, charcoal, magic marker, good old number 2 pencils, and even a MacBook. So you can often find information about the illustration medium in this part of the book. Sometimes the copyright information is at the end of the book too, so it just depends on the choices that were made. Once we get inside the book, I'm just going to show you a few pages. This is what's called a double spread. This is where you open the book wide and the image and the text take up both pages. And this actually happens to be the first 2 pages of this book. Double spreads are often used for a large image, or for an image with a lot of action. Occasionally they're wordless. Sometimes they're in the middle of the book where the book naturally falls open. In Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are, there's several massive wordless double spreads in the middle where the wild things have their wild rumpus and they dance across the page. Here it's just the beginning of the book, and you see the image of the cat, and then the text there that says the cat walked through the world with its whiskers, ears, and paws. Okay, this is a single spread, so it's half of that. It's just 1 page. And you'll notice on single spreads that the text can go in a variety of places. Here it's at the top in the cloud. And again, notice the choices, right? The fox is italicized. The cat is all capitals, so they want you to pay attention to that. And you'll notice that in a lot of books, the text placement varies from page to page. It's not always in the same place. Here's an example of text in a different place. You have an image that includes a lot of different characters from the book, and the text is all down the left-hand side of the page. So you have a child, a dog, a fox, a fish, a mouse, a bee, a bird, a flea, a snake, a skunk, a worm, and a bat. So the choice to make that a nice long list down there, again, a design feature. Okay, so these are just some of the things that you should look at when you're reading your picture books for your outside readings. Pay attention. It's tempting with a 32-page picture book to just whip your way through it because there's very few words and it's really short and it's like, okay, I'm done. But the whole unit is intended as sort of a thing to convey meaning, like an art object. So pay attention to things like the dust jacket and the images and the media used, the colors that the artist chose. You know, are they all the same? Is it lots of blues and purples, so it's a very cool feeling, or is it lots of bright reds and oranges? How does that work with the message of the book? Think about text placement. Think about double spreads. Think about, do we get hints about what the book's about on the end papers, or on the dust jacket, or even on the title page sometimes? So pay attention to all those things and try to mention some of those when you do your book talks. Don't just focus on the story, but look at the whole package.